What is your "it will be fine" narrator, it was not fine moment? I'm a forklift driver. Last Friday, I tapped a pole on the dock of the warehouse. I was previously parked next to it and turned into it. There was no damage on either the truck or the pole, so I continued working. Apparently, my job has tons of cameras and caught the whole thing on tape. HR called me on Monday to tell me I was fired for having an accident and not reporting it. This guy stubbed his toe at my gym. It was kinda funny. I'm showering and all I hear is, "Oh super loud. I come out of my stall and walk over to the change area, and there is this guy the first used to talk to occasionally, and he's sitting there and his toe is bleeding like crazy. I asked him what happened and if that was him who yelled, and he says yeah, he just stubbed his toe on the way out of the shower. They had these little lips at the bottom, like you had to step up about 3 or 4 inches when you opened the door and got out, and I'll be fine. It did look kinda bad, but whatever. Dude said he was fine. I don't see him for like a few months, maybe even half a year. Then finally he's back at the gym. I ask how he was doing, and he tells me the stubbed toe got some crazy infection, and they almost had to amputate this foot. It was not fine. I dated a girl for 6 months. She didn't have any kind of social media, but I figured it's fine. Social media isn't for everyone. She only wanted to come to my place because she said hers was a mess, but I figured it was fine. I didn't even have to drive anywhere. She always wanted to meet at specific times, usually on weekdays, and always needed to go home afterwards, but I figured it's not a big deal. She has a busy work schedule. If you haven't figured out that she was married already, then you're as gullible as I was. I'm not crazy. I should stop taking my medication. After a year sober, I ended up relapsing, breaking up with girlfriend of 8 years who loved me on a hunch that it was destiny, moved to the middle of nowhere, and IDK the rest. Anyway, back on meds, 7 months sober, and picking up the pieces. Edit. I hurt my own feelings writing this. Edit 2. And you guys helped me feel better about it. Thanks everyone. Every single time I don't study. That's a lot of narration. And there's more coming. There's no way I'll get pregnant from the one time I'm having unprotected sex. Narrator. She was pregnant. I will figure out what to eat for breakfast tomorrow morning. I'll pack my lunch in the morning. I'll figure out what I'll have for dinner when I get home. Grocery is 15 miles back, near my work. Jury duty. This case involves children, so feel free to step out now if you can't handle it. How bad can it be? Pedophilia trial involving little girls. 30+ charges. There's like 30 people here. Chances are pretty sli. First person called to the jury. Doe. Ordered 4 McGriddles after mixing vodka and absinthe for nearly 13 hours. Yeah, it decidedly was not fine. Ordered 4 McGriddles. Dog. You already lost me. That is 4 McGriddles too many. The rest of the comment was just icing on a horrible cake. Me going to the bar just for a couple of drinks, instead walking in the front door at 5 a.m. Suck at drawing. Decided to take up a jewelry designing course. When I was 8 years, I fell off my bike going as fast as I could. I landed chin first, breaking my jaw and scraping my face up pretty bad. Later, while my chin was getting stitches, the doctor asked how I was doing. I said, fine. Everyone in the room started laughing. I don't have any "it will be fine" moments. I always have anxiety. He is jealous and manipulative, but the sex is great. When the heat cools down, I will just break up with him and leave. It will be fine. Why is the sex always great with crazy? Crazy in the head, crazy in the bed. When I was 11, me and my friends built a fort on the other side of a small river, 3 feet across, and we built a bridge out of a bunch of sticks. My friend dared me to drive my bike across, so I did. Got a head start. Wheel got stuck in one of the branches. I got flung off into the fort. It was not fine. Boss gave me an impossible task. I didn't do it. I got called to their office. Brain. Well, I guess they must have realized it was impossible and want to apologize for putting me under all that stress. Narrator. No, he's getting fired. When I decide not to use the bathroom before leaving for a road trip. Didn't drink water for days. Only Coca-Cola. Had rough sex. Wanted to pee. Didn't want to get up. It will be fine. I can hold it. Held it. Woke up. It was not fine. I got a ooty and was peeing blood for days. The worst thing, peeing the clots. They hurt like a Dated a single mom for a year and a half despite hating children. She brought the kid on our second date. Should have ended it there. Told myself it would be fine. Maybe the kid would grow on me. It was not fine. 2 aircraft reported overdue. Horrible sinking feeling in my stomach, but told the younger guys it was probably just a comms problem and not to get too stressed. The next call came in about 5 minutes later. The rescue operation lasted 3 days and was only partly successful. I never really got over what happened on that one. Getting a tattoo on my ribs, sternum. I had a bunch of big tattoos already, but people were telling me how bad it was going to hurt. I was like, nah, I'm used to it. It'll be fine. It was not fine. It was, in fact, excruciating. Last Tuesday, going back to work after taking a week off cause my dad died. I kept telling myself I'd be fine. I walk in through the door, see my boss, and before she even looked up to say anything, I busted out into a blubbering mess and cried hard, wailing like an idiot. Cue all my co-workers hugging me, giving me condolences. I know they mean well, but I guess I really wasn't emotionally ready as I thought I was. When my prom date, who I was dating at the time, said she didn't want any form of flowers from prom. No carry flowers. No boutonniere. While it tripped a red flag, but I said it'd be fine. It was not fine. We had a terrible night. She was over an hour late. We barely talked. And we broke up 3 days later. Winter holidays. The 17th of January. I had a ski pass valid until the end of the day. But I was tired and there was smog everywhere. I told myself it would be fine. I'll rest tomorrow. Don't waste a ski day. I dislocated both shoulders. It took me 2 months to have them patched up. French healthcare is great, by the way. I clogged the toilet and grabbed the brush instead of the plunger. Then in a haste I threw a shit-filled brush into the sink and tried doing a plunge flush. The toilet overflowed and got shit on the rug. Not my day. I was 16. This was 2 years ago. Am still that dumb under pressure. Went to drop in on a 14-foot half pipe. First time on anything larger than 6 feet. Stood there for a while then just said F it and started leaning forward. Next thing I remember is waking up in a puddle of blood while people yelled at me to stop bleeding on the ramp. Apparently I basically just fell 14 feet straight onto my face. Hardly even touched the ramp. Drove a mate's car through a creek crossing on my parents' property. It had been raining a lot and it was pretty high. My mate said we should walk it first to check the depth or with E. I said nah, we will be fine. Car died halfway through. Broken rod. Whole engine needed replacing. His mum had only just bought him the car. Was not fine. I'll do my homework later. I wanna watch this. It turned out he never did the homework. So at the age of 13, after much debate, a ton of therapy, and pressure from my dad, I decided to tell my mom that I wanted to go live with him. I was so scared. I knew she'd be upset. I was more scared of my abusive stepfather, but my dad kept saying everything would be okay. So I told them. I figured they would be mad, but really what could they do? Give me extra chores? My stepgrandmother drove me to her house while I watched Finding Nemo. Then that night she took me back home where I was told to just go to my room. In the middle of the night my stepfather kicked me awake. I was in underwear and a t-shirt. He kicked me out of the room into the living room where he rage whispered in my face while stabbing my chest with his finger so hard it would knock me back. I can't even remember what he said. Then he told me to go sit in the chair. He then threw my makeup at me, because he thought that's a reason I wanted to leave. Then he threw my books at me, ripped up the magazines he bought me and threw them at me, and then told me if I moved my life would be a living hell. So he went to bed and I sat still for about 4 hours until my mother came out and told me I could lay on the couch. When he woke up he told me he was going to drive me to school. On the way he stopped at his mom's house and put an axe, chainsaw, and plastic bags in the trunk. Then he drove me into a state park in a deserted road and essentially told me if I left he would kill me. Then he bought me McDonald's and dropped me off at school. On the way he told me he would get into heaven because he paid his tithes. But was I sure if I would go to heaven? Needless to say, my dad got custody. But also, my dad was wrong and nothing was okay. I paid the price of mortal fear for my courage.